other. And that's because he had a little angle. And he would see what's going on in the field, and he would yell out every 2 minutes, "If you can't get a ball, get a bud." And I realized then that marketing is what makes success. And it reminded me a flashback to my childhood when someone mentioned Timmins over in this area here, and Porter Airlines flies there. That's my hometown. And when I grew up in Timmins, I had my first marketing job selling the Timmins Daily Press on the street corner for 3 cents. You would buy it from the great entrepreneur Jack Kent Cooke for 2 cents and resell it for 3 cents. And I had my own cry out there. I won't say it now, but I was pretty good at yelling out as loud as I could, "Timmins Daily Press, come read all about it," so on. And the business came in. And then I learned that if I would follow the people around who I just sold a newspaper to, and I would shout at them, "Read it and leave it," I would pick up the paper, reshuffle it, package it again, and resell it. And that way, I made enough money to buy my first bike when I was 9 years old. And that was during the war years when you couldn't buy bicycles because all the iron was going to the military. So I got a nice little secondhand bike. My second lesson in marketing was when I got a job in Crosstown Pharmacy after school and on the weekends. And I would realize that if you wanted business to thrive, you had to really please the customer. You had to know where your inventory was. You had to have what they wanted. You had to be nice to them, gracious and kind, and help when you could, and business would thrive. So I took that into my memory bank. And later on, I got a job as a marketeer for a British company called Gruno Blankenship. And I went door to door all summer long, doing inventory of what people had in their household, what cleaning products, what soaps, what toothpaste, et cetera, and I had a pretty good idea of what was going to be the next order that these people would want, and we would send this information back. Now they do it all by computers, but it was a lesson in marketing. And then, for the reasons that you'll see in the program, my career in business and law never materialized, and I became a physician, and a very happy one. But when I graduated from my specialty of neurology and came out of the academic world and into the community to try to do the best work I could, I realized that the university no longer had any opportunities for education to provide for those doctors out in the community. All we had was one convention a year by our own associations. So I thought about my marketing experience and the fact that I roomed in the university with architects and engineers in our frat house, and I learned how to build bridges, not just out of popsicle sticks, but make friends in different ways. And I decided to link up with pharmaceutical firms and try to find a way to improve the education for those of the physicians in the community that weren't getting any, new information except what we could imbibe ourselves. So we started an association, and we were the first group of all the specialties to have regular CHE, continuing health education, and it's been my joy to participate in lifelong learning. And we've done this now. I've put on myself over 140 such meetings, partnering with other specialty groups, with insurance companies, law firms, business firms, pharmaceutical companies. We've also established internships for pharmaceutical reps to come into our offices to give in-services at their location on what we do and how we do it. And that way we have a good partnership, and I think it's helped all of us to understand how we can better help our patients. So it's my pleasure to accept this award with great thanks to the selection committee, to the National Pharmaceutical Congress, to the Chronicle group of companies, and to all of the attendees. I'm honored to be amongst all of my fellow inductees, particularly young Erin Moreski. I look forward to knowing more about him, but thank you all very much. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you.
Ed Sullivan used to say, you never follow children and you never follow an animal act, but try following that, eh? Okay. The next inductee to the Hall of Fame is Doug Grant, Senior Vice President of Corporate Affairs from Bayer Incorporated, and to present to him and is Bruce Beamer, Director of Government and External Affairs, Eastern Canada for Bayer. Bruce?
Thank you for this opportunity to be here. And I said to Doug before I left that I would not improvise and I would not embarrass him. And given that I report to him, I thought those were wise words of advice to him. And his counsel back was, good, you keep your job then. Now, if you had an opportunity to attend the annual RX&D meeting last year, you would have seen our previous CEO, Phil Blake, use some props, some mice in his presentation. I have in my office a Don Cherry bobblehead associated with his support for a cold product that you may have seen advertised on television. And one of my colleagues took a picture of Doug and blew up the head and cut it out and pasted it on the front of the bobblehead. And so I threatened Doug again to bring that bobblehead to represent him. And I decided again not to do that in the best interest of my temporal well-being. So Doug did make a few remarks, and I told him that I would stick to the text. Ladies, gentlemen, colleagues, and friends, and fellow inductees, I would first like to apologize for not being here. I am on a well-deserved, hopefully, vacation. Let me start by telling you how honored I am to receive the Canadian Marketing Hall of Fame Award. Over the past 27 years, I've had the extreme good fortune to work in a number of different organizations and to experience multiple corporate cultures, from sales to marketing, from communication to pricing and reimbursement. These broad experiences have provided me with a career-expanding opportunity to learn. And always along the way, I've had the chance to build great friendships and business relationships. It is to these people I owe a huge debt of gratitude in helping me to get where I am today and where I will be in the future. In closing, I want to thank the Chronicle of Healthcare Marketing for this award. It is very much appreciated and holds great meaning to the success of my career. Before I run off, I want to take this time to remind us, or we, or I, working in healthcare, the patients we ultimately serve are the reason for our participation in this great industry. I've had no greater satisfaction than seeing or hearing about the benefits that our products and services deliver. Thank you on behalf of Doug Grant.
The next inductee into the 2012 Healthcare Hall of Fame is the Director of Marketing for Astellas, is Barbara Reynolds. And here to introduce and present to her is Robert Goldberg, Senior Product Manager for Immunology from Astellas. Rob?
Thank you, Lauren. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor for me to have the opportunity to introduce Barbara Reynolds as she's inducted into the Hall of Fame. However, I will not only be introducing her, but will actually accept on her behalf. She's unable to be here as her mother passed away on the weekend, so unfortunately she won't be here today. One of my marketing heroes, Dilbert, otherwise known as Scott Adams, once said, "People enter the marketing profession after they realize they have grown up without any particular skills." However, that would definitely not apply to Barb. She has a great many skills and characteristics both in marketing and in life in general that have helped her gain the respect of numerous colleagues and friends throughout her career. I've been fortunate to work with Barb for almost 9 years now and have seen these characteristics and the result of her hard work firsthand. I think the first word that comes to mind for most of us that know Barb is passion. She truly believes in the company and the products that we bring to the market, and everything she does is to support these products and these beliefs. For example, when the Common Drug Review did not support or recommend listing one of our products, she refused to accept that decision and work with our scientific affairs, market access colleagues. She drove the appeals process and actually got the CDR to reverse their decision, one of the very first times I think that the CDR has done this. You often hear the term visionary when it comes to marketing, but it truly fits with Barb Reynolds. She can see the future and takes an innovative path to get there. Astellas was new to the transplant community in 1999 when she started something called the Canadian Transplant Forum. This meeting has become the premier scientific renal transplant event in Canada, and this year will mark its 13th anniversary. She also guided the development of a national in-hospital pre-transplant education program that is still in use today and is actually compulsory in 7 transplant centers across the country. And along the way, during that time, Astellas has become the leading pharmaceutical company in transplantation. Another thing that quickly became apparent after starting to work with Barb is her phenomenal knowledge and ability to establish relationships with the customers so quickly. She's led the establishment of our transplant, dermatology, urology, infectious disease, and now oncology franchises. When I first started working with Barb, she referred to some efficacy data in one of our products from some study that was published 2 years earlier, and even knew the citation and the page number of the data. And I'm going, how am I ever going to keep up with that? It's just amazing how she's a repository of knowledge. And even our president, Mike Tremblay, a previous inductee to the Hall of Fame, said, "Why should I save anything? Barb will either remember it or she'll have it on file." She's very collaborative with her colleagues in all parts of the company, in Canada and internationally. She's taken on tasks in support of all the marketing activities, market access, product management, as I mentioned before, market research, and now new product development. In all the time I've worked with her and in talking with our colleagues, what strikes me most about her leadership is that she leads by example. She really cares about her team. She would never ask anyone to do something she would not do herself. She's an ultimate team player and consummate professional and treats her colleagues and agencies with respect and consideration. She's the real deal. She's been successful without attitude or ego. It is obvious she loves what she does and is dedicated to success at every stage of product introduction. So congratulations, Barb, on behalf of myself and all of your colleagues at Astellas on being inducted into the Canadian Marketing Healthcare Hall of Fame. It's a well-deserved honor. I'm glad to have had the opportunity to work with you and learn from you and look forward to more success in the years to come. Thanks, everyone.
As I mentioned earlier, we do take this opportunity every year to acknowledge one individual with the Phil Diamond Humanitarian of the Year Award. It's named after Phil Diamond, an individual who was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 2002, and the award was named after him largely for the work that he's done at the cardiac department at the Scarborough General Hospital, but also for his tireless work with the Starlight Starbright Foundation. We talked before about 2 types of doctors, some who treat diseases, some who treat patients. I think whenever we're at a social gathering, we can say that people fall into 2 categories: those who talk about the future and those who talk about the past. And certainly, those of you who have the privilege and honor of knowing Dr. Madden will know that age is not necessarily a predictive factor of which camp you'll be in. People who talk about the future, though, now, I find, have a touch of cynicism when they talk. And they talk about children. They talk about how children are the Xbox generation, they don't have long-lasting values, they're here today, gone tomorrow, fall in love easily and out of love easily, they don't understand emotional intimacy, can't commit. They have a rather negative tone. All of those individuals feel that way because they've never met our next individual, Aaron Medeski. He's the youngest individual to be acknowledged inducted into the Hall of Fame at the age of 10. Aaron became chronically ill, was diagnosed, as you'll hear in a few moments, at age of 7, and has started a foundation known as Aaron's Apple, which is to help families of children with chronic diseases who are struggling to afford the medication necessary and has, through Aaron's Apple, has raised well over $150,000 to date, helping families in need. It's an honor to introduce to you. I had the privilege of meeting this young man earlier today, and I think he's going to be our Prime Minister one day. Aaron and his mother, Melinda Maliski, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mandy Moreski, and I'm one of the co-founders of Aaron's Apple. I would like to express my gratitude to the organizers of this exceptional event, and we are humbled and honored to have Aaron's Apple included in today's ceremony. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. A few years ago, our son Aaron was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. This was an extremely difficult time for our family for two reasons. The first was seeing our son endure enormous pain and suffering that he bravely embraced. The second was our discovery that accessibility to necessary medical treatments can severely be limited due to funding. Aaron's Apple was born from the belief that every child has the right to experience a happy and pain-free life, and that every parent has the right to raise their child in a dignified manner. Some parents are fortunate enough to have medical insurance that will cover such high costs, but not being able to afford medication for a suffering child will compromise the dignity of any parent. While we are all sitting here at this special event, there are many parents like us who are sitting in hospitals and waiting rooms across Canada. Many of them are faced with the challenge of trying to figure out how they are going to cover their child's medical costs. These are low-income families, single mothers, new Canadians, parents who cannot afford medical treatments, or who just simply don't have insurance. These parents have no choice but to sit back and remain stagnant while their precious children suffer. And they suffer unthinkable illness, horrendous symptoms, and excruciating pain. Now think about this. In this day, in this age, in North America, in Canada, and in the province of Ontario, no parent should ever have to deny their child of a necessary medical treatment due to lack of funding. So it becomes difficult to sleep at night knowing that this is the case for many families. So our goal with Aaron's Apple is to raise the visibility basically across Canada so that we can create accessibility for those who are in need. Through community fundraisers such as spin-a-thons, t-shirt and ice cream sales, and our recent Caring to the Core Gala, we are starting to climb the ladder. We would not have been able to achieve our accomplishments without the incredible support from our community partners, including many of the people and companies in this very room. Your belief in Aaron's Apple and Aaron's vision has paved the way for us to have raised over $150,000 at such an early stage in our journey. On behalf of my family, and most especially the families who Aaron's Apple has been able to support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I encourage you to join us and take a bite out of Aaron's Apple and help change a life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mom, and hello, everybody. I would like to thank everyone here today for this amazing award. When I was 7 years old, I was in hospital for 2 weeks and at home for almost 3 months after being diagnosed with Crohn's disease. It was only after starting infusions did I start feeling better and was able to live a normal life. I decided then that if there was any way I could help other children to feel better, I would. After discussing this with my mom and dad, we decided to start Aaron's Apple. No child should suffer because their family cannot afford medicines to make them feel better. I would like you all to know that this is just the beginning for Aaron's Apple, and together with my family, we can make a real difference in other children's lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow, Aaron.
I think that's a rather optimistic view of the future, what the future holds for us. So that brings us to a conclusion. Thank you all for your participation. I would like to once again acknowledge and all of the 2012 inductees. And I'd ask also to some previous inductees in the room to stand up and be recognized as well. Percy Sky, Phil Diamond, Gerald McDowell, Rudy Fernandez, John Suk, Joe Knott, Graham Jobson, Steve Green, Dr. Stuart Madden.